Okay. If it wigs out this time, I'm just gonna throw my shit all over the place. Alright. His reaction to the name Saya was very clear. In the silence that follows, Koji tries to soothe his parched throat with another mouthful of weak tea or coffee. I see, Ryoko mutters. So it is Saya. It's obvious from the frown on her face, it isn't because of the bad coffee. Why are they drinking piss poor coffee anyway? Have you found the answer, Doctor? Koji asks, practically demanding an answer. Do you know what the Saya is? Ryoko ignores Koji's question by pretending to be engrossed in her coffee. That only works until her cup is empty. Staring at the brown stain at the bottom of her cup, Ryoko says, her voice hard and flat. You were foolish enough to ignore my warning, but... I'm just as stubborn. I'm going to say this one more time, Tono-kun. You should go home and forget all about this. This woman is wise, you ignorant bastard. You really are stubborn, Koji replies, smiling bitterly instead of getting angry like he did before. Are you saying that I still haven't crossed the line separating me from you and Fuminori? You still haven't seen the most damning part of all of this. As far as you're concerned, Ryoko continues, with disparaging smirk, your best friend in the whole world certainly went crazy and became a cannibal. That's all this thing is to you, isn't it? That's all. Unable to come to terms with what Fuminori has done, Koji can only deal with it by clinging to the obsessive desire to kill Fuminori. Yet despite that, Ryoko makes this nightmare sound like it's just the beginning. I really don't like how the words run off and confuse the absolute shit out of me. I mean, damn. Koji still doesn't understand where her morbid cynicism is coming from, nor does he want to. You say there's something more, but aren't you just imagining it? That you can think means that your wounds are still shallow. Once again, Ryoko brusquely states her opinion as fact, her tone making it clear that she doesn't care whether or not Koji is satisfied with her explanation. If you back out now, they'll probably heal, given time. You haven't crossed the final line yet. Without getting emotional like before, Koji considers Ryoko's words. The final line. True. Fuminori is somewhere beyond that. Although Koji has gone far enough to be willing to kill Fuminori, he has no intention of eating his enemy's flesh once he's dead. That, at least, still separates Koji from Fuminori. Then, what about Ryoko, who's been treating Koji like an ignorant fool ever since she saved him from the well? How close is she to Fuminori? You're saying your wounds are deeper than mine? In response to Koji's sarcastic question, Ryoko's cold smile becomes a bitter, self-mocking smirk. This gun was my father's, you know. Ryoko pats her duffel bag, where the outline of something hard inside is clearly visible. What is Tokyo's laws on gun control? 'Cause that wouldn't fly here. Because it disappeared from his gun locker, he was kicked out of his local hunting club. I feel bad about that. My parents were always proud of me. They probably never imagined that their daughter would steal a gun from their safe. So you had a good reason for doing that? No, not at all. Her quick denial isn't what Koji was expecting. At the time, the Ogi mess had already ended. At least, that's what I thought. He'd vanished without a trace, and I was sure that he'd never appear before me again. I didn't take this gun because I needed to shoot or kill something. Then why? Because I couldn't sleep. That's all there was to it. Ryoko pauses, apparently needing time to decide how to best explain. Ryoko pauses, apparently needing time to decide how best to explain more clearly. Until then, she continues, choosing her words carefully, I'd kept a nata hidden next to my bed. I couldn't stand being alone in my room at night, you see. I wanted to know that, no matter how unimaginably insane the world might become, I had some choice other than just running around and screaming. That's why I needed some kind of weapon that I could count on in my room. Koji is struck speechless. He's amazed, even impressed that someone with such a serious case of delusional paranoia can function as one of these elite T University leading doctors. It didn't really work, though. My nightmares just got worse every night. A nata just wasn't enough to let me sleep peacefully. That's when I stole my father's gun. By cutting down the barrel like this, the shot spreads over a wide area. It causes more damage. Yeah, but you have shorter range. I heard that, even in America, modifying a shotgun like this is a serious crime. With the gun sitting in the back of my closet, I was finally able to sleep. One night out of 3, that is. What a fierce look. At this point, Ryoko seems to have gotten everything off her chest that she wanted to, smiling like someone who had just finished a hard job. She adds, a gun's a great thing to have, You know, it really is.
相手に向かってぶっ放すもよし、それでダメなら自分の口に突っ込んで引き金を引くっていう選択肢もある。
You can use it to blow your enemies away, and if that doesn't work, you can always stick it in your mouth and pull the trigger.
先生は専門家の治療を受けるべきです。
Doctor, you should get professional help.
端的な感想ありがとう。でもね、君だって他人事じゃなくなるよ。これ以上先に進むんならね。
Thanks for your honest opinion. You won't be able to talk like that for much longer, though. Not if you go any further. Koji's already doubtful that meeting with Yoko before facing Fuminori was really the right thing to... Jesus, he's stupid. Was really the right thing to do. The one thing that Koji and Ryoko have in common is an unwillingness to leave Fuminori to the proper authorities. Fuminori not only killed Koji's lover and friend, but went so far as to defile their corpses. Koji doesn't even want to give him the chance to get off an insanity plea at a trial. No matter what sins he must hear, Koji will put an end to Fuminori with his own hands. If he doesn't, he knows that he will never sleep again. It helps to have a partner in crime, but only when that partner doesn't cause trouble. Ryoko talks big about exposing Ogi's secrets, but she might just have a head full of nonsensical delusions. If so, Koji needs to rethink this whole thing. If you're telling me to leave everything to you, Koji says with unflappable determination, please give me some reason to trust you. Prove to me that there's a reason for you to be so obsessed with Ogi. Show me everything he did. So you'd go that far? Oh well. Ryoko smirks and shakes her head in exasperation, but pulls a stack of paper out of her bag without further resistance. The sheets of loose leaf are bound only with the cord. After you read one line, it continues on to the same line on the next page. Anyway, just skim through it. As directed, Koji looks through the handwritten pages and gives up after less than 3 minutes. Is this the manuscript for a sci-fi horror novel or something? It's a pretty bad joke. I didn't think Ogi had such childish hobbies. Koji deliberately scoffs at the document, doing everything he can to show contempt for what he just read. At the same time, he tries desperately not to remember the mountains of bone in Ogi's bathtub, and the unidentifiable smell permeating from Fuminori's house. The specimens and research papers that Ogi brought to the university 1 year ago were just as unbelievable, Ryoko says calmly, coldly ignoring Koji's disdain. Apparently, he continued his research in secret, using our supplies without permission. But then he made a mistake and was discovered. That's when things got crazy. Judging by the equipment he was trying to use, he meant to treat his experiment as a P3 level biohazard. To be honest, that might not have been sufficient for what he was dealing with.
近隣の住民を退去させるべきだったんだが、まあそこは偉い人たちが偉い人なりに頑張って全部なかったことにしてくれたよ。
We should have had the nearby civilians evacuate, but the big shots did their thing and made the whole mess disappear.
その代わり私たちはキャンバス中のネズミを一匹残らず駆除する羽目になった。ネズミとかつてネズミだった何かをね。
In exchange, we had to go to the trouble of eliminating every single rat from the campus, including the things that used to be rats, that is. At their first meeting, Ryoko brushed Koji off when he asked about Ogi Masiko. Now, however, she's telling the whole story. Her voice is clear and emotionless as a machine's.
事の究明には結局皆がサジを投げた。
In the end, we gave up trying to explain what had happened.
オーガイが持ち込んだ資料がどういう起源のものなのか、誰にも突き止めることはできなかった。
No one could figure out where the materials he had brought with him had come from.
まあ結局みんな賢明だったわけだ。
In retrospect, everyone did the wise thing.
理性は理性、ざれ言はざれ言。そういう線引きを危うくしないで済む程度ってもんを心得ていた。
They knew how to keep the boundary between reason and fantasy where it should be.
でもあいにく当時の私はそこまで賢明じゃなかった。
I, unfortunately, was not so smart. And she's making the same pose. Ryoko pauses for a moment, then grins with a self-disdain so maniacal that it strikes Koji like a blow.
あれこれ探って暴き出して、私はオーガイが何をしていたのか知った。
I searched everywhere for Ogi, fleshed him out, and finally learned what he'd been doing.
彼が関わっていた連中や彼をそそのかした連中も突き止めた。
I found the people he'd been dealing with and those who had encouraged him to perform his experiments.
ナタと添い寝するようになったのはその頃からだ。
That's when I started sleeping with the Nada.
この世の理性ってものがどんなにタガの緩んだ穴だらけの頼りない代物なのか理解するようになったんだね。
I had learned how absurd, full of holes, and unreliable our world's reason is, after all. As though fleeing from the quiet insanity that he keeps glimpsing in Ryoko, Koji found himself paging through the loose leaf in his hands and reading a line at random. The flesh covering the organism's body is not fibrous, but God damn it, Ogi. Reticulated. In other words, is an extremely tough substance that expands and contracts, not in one direction, but in all directions. What? This means that slashing or piercing wounds may have very little meaning, since the flesh can contract in any direction freely, and any wound will be sealed instantly. Oh. So she's Wolverine too. It's nonsense. What else could it be? If it's true, then everything else, all the logical laws that rule the world, is completely meaningless.
じゃあ先生は信じるんですね、この内容を。
So, you believe what's in this, Doctor?
疑う理由なんてとっくの昔に見失ったからね。
I lost any reason to doubt it long ago. Ryoko reaches into her duffel bag again, this time removing a stainless steel thermos that looked to hold about 500 cc's.
こいつがサヤを倒す切り札だ。調達するのに手間取った。多分こいつは敵面に効く。
This is the secret weapon that'll let us defeat Saya. It was a pain to get, but it should work like a charm.
ついていけません。
I can't take this anymore, Koji snaps, no longer able to disguise his frustration.
サヤが何だろうともうどうでもいいです。俺は文則を終わらせることができればそれでいい。あなたには任せておけません。
I don't care what Saya is anymore. All I care about is finishing off Fuminori. I can't leave this to you.
そうか。
I see. Well, you made a horrible choice.